Yes, I am here. How's it
There,
going? Good to see everyone.
there you are. Mayor is very busy taking care of the city.
That's the road. It's really good to be with all of you as we talk about, the future of our city. So I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I just wanted to give a really brief introduction. This is all about amazing Mayor Adams. So, about 2 weeks ago, I met with him and his team at New York City Hall, and we had a deep dive discussion on AI and crypto. And the mayor is way, way ahead. I mean, he's doing a lot of great things implementing crypto in the city and uplifting. He gets it. I mean, and simply stated, he gets it and he's doing it. And he's using AI and crypto to uplift the residents of New York. As we all know, I mean, New York is the financial business center of the world. And if New York takes a step back on technology, takes a negative view of crypto, takes a negative view of Bitcoin, that's going to dampen the adoption and progress of Bitcoin and crypto across the world. And, given so many of my friends and neighbors are deeply invested in crypto and Bitcoin, I asked the mayor, and he was so generous with his time and said, yes, I'd be happy to talk to your community. So with that said, Mayor Adams, I'm going to open up with a quick question and then the floor is yours. I mean, it was a great headline yesterday. NYPD chief said that crime is way down in the city of New York so far this year. Given that as the backdrop, what's your vision for the next couple of years for the city, and how does AI and Bitcoin fit into that vision?
Thanks so much. And I really appreciate you bringing together members of not only your friend base, but members of the Bitcoin community. I think is crucial. And none of this is disconnected. In fact, it's all connected. As I move around and I ask businesses to come to the city, there's two questions they ask me. How good are the schools? How safe is the area that I'm going to raise my family in? And so when we talk about attracting businesses here, I'm always thinking about those two questions because you're thinking about your employees, you're thinking about your own family, and you want to make sure your schools can provide a sound education as your employees in general, but specifically even yourself. And so when we talk about how we turned around the city, I inherited, in fact, we were the epicenter here in New York. Our stores and shops were closed. Many of our businesses were leaving. Many people were working remotely and not returning back to their office spaces, which had a trickling impact on our entire economy because that accountant would stop at the local store, the local cafeteria and restaurant. And so it had a major impact on all aspects of our economy, what we went through with COVID. And normally mayors deal with one crisis, but as the mayor of New York City, I had to deal with three. Second, after COVID came the migrant and asylum seeker crisis. 230,000 migrants and asylum seekers came to our city. We had to feed, house, clothe, educate 40,000 children because of the federal laws and the state laws and the city laws. We were required to make sure that whoever came here, they were unable to work because of federal laws. They were unable to even volunteer and get a stipend because of federal laws. But we continue to push forward. My North Star was to make sure no child or family slept on the streets of the city of New York. And we were successful in accomplishing just that. And then you looked at what we did in 3 years and 6 months. More jobs are in New York City in the city's history. We built more affordable housing in year one and year two in the city's history, brought down crime, as you mentioned. The city's a safer city. The last 5 months of this year, we have witnessed the lowest number of shootings and homicides in the recorded history of the city. The same with the seven major crime categories. New York is designated as the safest big city in America. 4.6 million people on our subway system. We average only 5 felonies a day on our subway system due to the work that our police officers are doing. But when you look at all of that, we also know that innovation drives the city. You can't be the financial capital of the globe and then stay in a cocoon. You have to always be looking for the next accomplishment. We climb the top of the mountain, not to sit there, but to look at the next mountain we want to climb. That is why when I ran for office, I talked about blockchain, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and I took my first three paychecks in Bitcoin to send a symbol, because being a man is both substantive and symbolic. The symbolism was to say to the entire country, New York is open for business for cryptocurrencies, for Bitcoins and blockchain. And if the chief executive is taking his first three paychecks in it, is saying that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. And people laughed at me and they mocked me. But I keep telling them over and over again, who's laughing now? Because my Bitcoin investment is showing that it was a smart decision to have carried out that action. But there's so much more we can do. So here in the city, we're going to build out a curriculum for our young people in school to learn about Bitcoin with real day practices. We're going to look at paying for our utilities, everything from parking summonses to other utilities by using Bitcoins and show people how easy it is. We're going to bring together our various immigrant populations who are sending money back to their homeland. We're going to show them how much money they're losing by going through some of the companies that they are spending each year. When I was in Mexico, Puebla, Mexico, a substantial amount of their gross national product came from money that was sent from America, but billions were being spent in paying for fees. So we are going to educate our Caribbean and immigrant diaspora to show how using Bitcoin, they can do away with those fees and the money can go to their designated location. Then we want to look at blockchain. There's no reason we can't use blockchain for our death certificates, for our birth certificates, for our deeds and other important parts of the documentation that we do in this city. In essence, we're going to become the capital of this industry. People are going to come here and they're going to see it's business friendly. We're going to go after the bit license that was put in place with one goal, and that was to scare people and have them flee our city from doing business here. The page has clearly changed, and we are in a new chapter, and it's a chapter that many of you have been waiting for. You have been sitting in the dark, having your bank accounts closed, having all sorts of auditing done to you. What we have done in this country to this industry is despicable. There was an intentionality of destroying an entire industry. It was unfair, it was wrong, but those bugles you are hearing, they are not taps. It's cavalry. The cavalry is coming, and we're going to see this industry grow and thrive here in New York. And so I'm open to answer any questions. And again, I thank all of you, probably from different parts of the country, for hopping on and having a conversation with me. And we're going to put in place a Bitcoin council and digital currency council. And we are looking for experts who are in the field to be part of this conversation as we work together to move this industry in the right direction. I'll turn it back over to you, Pavel.
Hi, amazing. So, you're implementing cutting edge technology and transformative technology in, very traditional city. So I'm sure you face a lot of fear and resistance. And how do you overcome that?
Well, even today, as we circumnavigate the globe, there's still people who are running around saying the globe is flat, and they don't want to charge. They don't want to travel any far than what they can see. I know people will be always fearful, but it's the fearless that leads us into the future. And so I want to surround myself with folks like those who are on this core. It's time for the fearless to lead us into the future. Hop on this journey with me as we go see new lands and new ways to use this form of technology. Paying for goods and services, it has always evolved. We would be still using seashells to pay for things that we would have stood still. We went from that to coins, from coins to paper dollars, from paper dollars to credit cards, from credit cards to payment apps. There's always been an evolution. We're just at the verge of the evolution. And you all should be proud of yourselves because it's the list that's willing to not go from where we were to where we ought to go. And I'm part of the fearless gang.
Excellent. What about AI? How do you see AI streamlining city services?
So it is so important when you think about it, and it's the proper use of AI. We put in place a bot with chief technology officer because none of this information is new information. If someone wants to know how to get a liquor license, why do they have to navigate an entire group of agencies when all of this information is here? They're not the first to open a restaurant and get a liquor license. AI is allowing us to have these bots to give them the step-by-step action to carry out business. And then AI is also assisting us in identifying what services are needed. How do we do a better job? How do we monitor and respond to the needs of our constituents? And how do we centralize the delivery of services? You're going to see more and more. Our first version of our business bot our small business services was put in place. You're going to see a continuous evolution of using AI to do so. We are looking at when someone calls 911 using artificial intelligence. If they speak in one language, the receiver of the call would be able to instantly have that language interpret for them, translated. And when they speak back to the caller, it would automatically translate into the language of that caller. We speak 700 different languages in New York City. In the borough of Brooklyn, our largest borough, 40% of the residents speak a language other than English at home. And so the ability to communicate with people using artificial intelligence in their language is a huge, huge advantage because many people, because of their English deficiencies, they're unable to access the services that they deserve. And we're going to change that game in the next couple of years.
Amazing. And at the Bitcoin conference, you made a huge, huge announcement about Bit bonds. Can you repeat that?
Our city gives out bonds, as many people are aware. Some of them are tax exempt bonds and other kind of bonds. We have bonds and we have instruments for all forms of way to invest. We don't have an instrument to invest using Bitcoins. We want to change that. We want to examine the possibility of doing a Bit bond, which we think is important so that people can invest using their Bitcoins to invest and purchase bonds. This is something that we think is new. It is going to take a real level of coordination and collaboration, and we believe we could accomplish that. But it all starts with the verbalizing of an idea. Of no matter what we accomplish and what we do, it starts with verbalizing the idea. And once you put it in the universe, I believe in the butterfly effect, then it spreads out and to solve it. Problem. No problem is unsolvable. We just have to have the right people that want to solve the problem.
Excellent. Excellent. So anybody who has a question for Mayor Adams, you can just raise your hand and we will loop you in. And, obviously he's so generous with his time. Bill.
Yeah. Hey, Mayor Adams. Thank you so much for being here. Exciting to hear all the things about New York. You're making those of us that don't live in New York want to move there, first of all. So, and totally agree with you on everything starts with an idea. And it sounds like you're really grounded. My question for you is, what was your own personal crypto journey, your Bitcoin journey? How did you get to this point for taking your first paychecks in Bitcoin, for example?
I was at a conference and the whole conversation was new to me. I became excited by hearing about it. And then I was in Puerto Rico speaking with what I believe, seemed like everyone in this universe seemed to have fled to Puerto Rico. And once I started sitting down speaking with people, the idea came about. And then I spoke with my good friend, the mayor of Miami, Mayor Suarez, and he stated that, we need a real symbolic moment. In New York being the financial capital of the world, it would be a great idea if, we did something that was symbolic. And then I had a conversation with Brock also. And I said, you know what, this is a good thing to do. It would send a loud and clear message that we were open to the industry.
Excellent. Next is Ra.
Thank you so much. Hey, Mayor Adams, what an honor to have you up here with us today. I'm Ra. I'm serving as a VP of Web3 for Angel Twin. My question for you, first of all, actually, before I ask my question, I had a chance to visit New York City, last year, and that was my first time there. Absolutely fell in love with the city. Cannot wait to go back there again. I mean, I miss it so badly, constantly talking about New York. So it really changes your life. But it was such an exciting time. I mean, the food and everything else about that city. I really want to move there, first of all. So hopefully it's going to happen one of these days. But my question to you is about the New York public schools. What are you doing to ensure that the students are getting ready for this, AI-dominated economy that we are entering now?
And, that's such a great question because AI, I believe, is going to be the great equalizer. And the joy is that although it has been around for a long time, it has been newly introduced. And the Chancellor, Melissa Aviles Ramos, she gave me a briefing on how we're going to show our young people how to use AI in their current curriculum, but also what are the jobs for the future in AI. And we're building out curriculum starting from pre-K and 3K. We want our children to grow up being fearless about this wonderful technology. And the best way to do it is real life experiences, showing them how things that they love on how to incorporate, like the ability of AI to write a rap song, ability of AI to help them do research, they're seeing in a real way how AI is friendly and how they can use it for their creative experiences and how they can see the employment of it as well.
Amazing. Next is May Mackey.
Hi, Mayor Adams. Thank you so much for
How we
taking the time
doing?
to speak with us today. You are motivational, inspirational. It's been a pleasure listening to you today. I just have a quick question for you. You mentioned that you took your first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. Is there a plan already in place for other city employees to do the same?
Yes. That's the goal. There's 2 things I want to do. Right now, every employee can do the same as I did. And I also want them to create wallets. There is no reason that we're still using paper checks. There's no reason we can't create a system where we can deposit their checks right into a wallet where they can use it as they desire. And so the goal is to get the fear. There's still this unknown. And the more and more we educate in bite-sized, digestible manners, people will be willing to say, wait a minute, this is a good idea. That's our biggest challenge right now, educating people, because there was so much anti-Bitcoin conversations out there. And I think it was intentional to keep people away. But we're now letting people know the possibility of taking their paychecks in Bitcoins. That's a great question. And that's what we want to accomplish.
I think that's a really good point because anyone invested in Bitcoin and understands the true potential of it knows that the biggest hurdle is adoption and finding new utility and new applications for Bitcoin. And this is why it's so important that you all to be supporting Mayor Adams, because as he implements this in New York, huge city, obviously the most important city in the world, the wallets and Bitcoin and crypto technology will become ubiquitous. Okay, all right. Well, the next question is from Lee Bratcher of North American Blockchain Conference.
Mayor Adams, thanks for joining us. I am, as Pavan mentioned, am one of the co-founders of the North American Blockchain Association. And I think we have a mutual friend, Mayor Eric Johnson of Dallas. Yes. I'm curious to know if you would be open to, I'm based here in Dallas, actually. Just curious to know if you'd be open to a joint Bitcoin bond with Dallas for AI education, something like an intermunicipal cooperative agreement where Dallas and New York City could issue joint Bitcoin bonds for AI education for K-12. Is that of interest to you, perhaps?
I would love it. What we should do is get his person and put in contact with mine, Jacques Maurice, who's my Office of Management and Budget Director, and let them work out the details on how to take the plan to actualization. But I'm open to any way of using this technology for the betterment of our city.
Hey, Mayor Adams, a pleasure. I'm a fellow New Yorker from Brooklyn, New York myself, even though I'm transplanted here in Washington, D.C., but a lifelong Mets and Jets fan. I usually don't watch the Mets to the postseason because the Jets, as we know, it's a little painful, but the Mets are having a great year. So, thank you for all you do in the city. Outside of the investing world, my wife and I come from the entertainment space. And how do you foresee, tourism in New York, also with Broadway, with the future of AI and of course, Bitcoin? Is there any plays there to, bring the tourism piece into New York with the entertainment side of the future of what is kind of upon us?
I am blown away. I was sitting down with a few friends the other day. They're big in this space. And we were talking about, just entertaining young people and using an education. Matter of fact, we were talking about history. And by the time the conversation finished, he fed that into AI rap song talking about history. And AI did the music, did the song, did everything. And when he played it, I was blown away. And he did it in an hour. So whomever believes that AI is not going to touch every level of our interaction, what many of us can't imagine it's going to touch. And I think that's as well as entertainment. The AI is going to be writing scores, movie scripts. Every aspect of our lives is going to be impacted by AI, which, in my opinion, some people may see it as a bad thing. I don't. I think it's a lot of possibilities, and it's going to give us an opportunity to really expand on what we do and how we do it. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to impact our entire way of how theaters are done, how we do all these different things, and the possibility. So I'm excited about it, and we look forward to, how we move forward with it. But now, when you said that you were in the industry, in what aspect?
Well, actually, I was a magician from the age of 11. My aunt took me to a magic shop in South Street Seaport, which really changed the trajectory of my life. But my wife and I still have 7 shows touring the country, and we've been on over 600 college campuses. And we have one of the largest Latin dance wellness conferences in Washington, D.C., which happens every August, which if you want to come get a little salsa and bachata on, we bring some of New York's finest for the last 17 years. But yeah, we're kind of in the creative arts industry. And who knows, Mary, I think you just came up with it. There's going to be the Broadway AI musical. Each night it'll change.
Wow. That's a brilliant concept. Think about that. Every night you get a version of a play, of a show, of a movie. I believe that's where we're going. And that is the excitement that we're going to see in the future that's to come.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for your time. I do want to tell everyone that I saw the mayor at the Bitcoin conference speak immediately after Vice President Vance. And if any of you get the chance, the amazing opportunity to see Mr. Mayor live, I can tell you that whole room was moved. He connected at such a visceral level, emotional and visceral level that is, second to none. So definitely get a chance to reach out and connect with the mayor and find the opportunity to watch his presentation live. So any closing words, Mr. Mayor?
No, just thank all of you for taking time. I'm going to hop off. If you want to communicate with your folks, you can do so, but I'll hop off at this time, okay?
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye. I do want to remind everyone, please support Mayor Adams. This is about keeping New York growing and making Bitcoin great again. So please do support Mayor Adams and share the link of how people can contribute to his upcoming campaign.
This is Pavan Agarwal. I and my companies do not endorse any specific candidate or political party. I invite all candidates to speak to my audience.